Now, something most of us don't see every day. Nearly 20 head of longhorns making their way through the middle of town at the Fort Worth Stockyards. The drovers who put on this unique event are hoping to teach kids about the history of cattle drives in Texas. Reporter Brian Baxter has more.
We pretty much just ride around, talk to the people, try to educate them about the cattle drive.
The Fort Worth Cattle Drive was designed to be a temporary project to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the city of Fort Worth. But people loved it so much it turned into a Texas tradition that's lasted for more than a decade.
Fort Worth was the last stopping point before they actually started into Indian territory. So the city thought that it'd be a good idea to, reenact this, and they actually drove them down the streets of downtown Fort Worth before they moved out to the stockyards.
This event is just a tiny glimpse of what a real cattle drive looked like back in the late 1800s.
The people are actually seeing, unfortunately, only 17 head of longhorn going down. We explained to them that there were 2,000 and 3,000 head at one time going up there. So they're getting an idea of what the longhorns look like when they're actually in a herd.
They're neat because they're not like the other cows.
Spectators get an up-close look at the longhorns as they pass by just a few feet from the crowd.
They do come really close so you can see the horns right beside you. Well, they curl forward like they're coming out, and they're about this long from their head and they come forward.
Even though the longhorns come close, the cattle drive is safe and the drovers are well trained to handle any situation.
We get all longhorn that have never had any human contact, and that's really important so that they don't try to go towards a human and think that they mean food or anything like that. The horses know their job, so it's pretty easy, pretty laid back.
We do have some that want to go on the curb or don't want to exactly go where we want them to go, so they can see the drovers actually moving the cattle. The drover moved back and forth to keep the cattle going straight down the street.
While it's fun to watch, the main purpose of the cattle drive is to educate kids on Texas history.
Fort Worth is cow town, so I think it's just important that we educate people about what a rich history this place has, and I think it's very cool that we still do something that's such a pastime and let kids who are in Texas history, it's a big deal. This went on a lot right after the Civil War, so we try to help the kids with learning about that.
If you just walk up and down the street, you see the cattle, you go, okay, yeah, I can go out to a ranch and see the cattle out there. But if they come up and talk to us, we can actually explain to them what the Texas history was, how Texas actually got their economy back after the war between the states, because Texas didn't have an economy. Texas wasn't able to grow cotton at the time. They didn't have tobacco products. They didn't have citrus like they do now. The only thing they had was beef on a hoof.
Kids weren't the only ones getting a history lesson. Many adults also lined the streets to get a good look at the longhorns.
Not only do we teach the young child why we're doing this, but we also get to teach the adult who may have been in a city all his life, watch the TVs and go, well, wait a minute, this isn't what I've seen on TV, so we get everybody encompassed again.
I hope that people just see that it is something that's very cool and something that we still can do today.
If it hadn't been for some entrepreneurs and some very ingenious individuals knowing how to get those cattle up the trail, Texas probably wouldn't be the great state it is now.
Reporting from the Fort Worth Stockyards, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
The cattle drive at the Fort Worth Stockyards takes place twice a day, every day.